let's talk about the fitness tracker on your wrist. We're going to dive into a new technology that could completely change how these devices understand our workouts, and honestly, pretty much everything else we do.
So, have you ever actually stopped to think about this? Your smartwatch is basically a supercomputer. It can track your GPS location across an entire city and count 10,000 steps without breaking a sweat. And yet it gets totally confused by 10 simple push-ups. It's a really common frustration, and believe it or not, there's a very good reason for it.
At its heart, this is what researchers call the rep counting problem. And it turns out that teaching a device to count one single super predictable action is a whole different ballgame from teaching it to count any action you throw at it. See, the counters we have today are what you'd call class-specific. Think of them as specialists. They get pre-trained in a lab with thousands and thousands of examples of just one thing, like walking. But the goal, the real game changer, is to create a universal counter, something that's flexible, adaptable, and can learn a new movement on the fly directly from you. And that brings us to a potential breakthrough. A group of researchers have developed a new method called Kara Count, and it's designed to be that exact universal, adaptable counter we've all been waiting for.
So the first big idea here is that it's class agnostic. Now that's a fancy term, but all it really means is that the system doesn't need a preloaded dictionary of exercises. It doesn't have to know what a squat is or what a bicep curl looks like beforehand. It can learn to count literally anything, from your gym routine to, chopping vegetables. And this is the magic part. It's called few-shot learning. You don't need to show it hundreds of examples. The system can learn a brand new, totally custom action from just a tiny sample. We're talking as few as 3 reps that you do right there on the spot. For you, the user, the whole process is incredibly simple. You just do a new exercise a couple of times, the system watches the sensor data and learns its unique pattern. And that's it. You're ready to go. You can start your workout and get a live, accurate count. So, how does it do that? How does it learn so effectively from so little data? Well, the secret sauce is in how it understands an action. Instead of seeing a movement as one big single thing, it breaks it down into distinct phases. Let's take a push-up. To Kara Count, it's not just one motion. It's a very specific sequence of 4 phases. You lower down, you hold at the bottom, you push back up, and you pause at the top. And it turns out every repetitive action has its own unique little sequence just like this. The system basically learns this unique recipe of phases from the few examples you give it. After that, it's not looking for a perfect push-up anymore. It's just looking for that specific sequence of phases to repeat. This is what makes it so robust, because even if you speed up, slow down, or your form gets a little sloppy, it can still follow the pattern. Okay, so the theory sounds great, right? But performance is everything. So the researchers put Kara Count through some serious testing, pitting it against other cutting-edge methods on 4 different data sets. So let's look at the numbers. This table shows something called mean absolute error, which is basically just the average number of reps the count was off by. And you want that number to be low. On this data set, the next best method was off by an average of over 8 reps, while Kara Count was only off by about 6. That's a huge jump in accuracy. And when you see it as a bar chart, it really drives the point home. That much shorter bar for cat count means a much more reliable and accurate count for you. It's the difference between a gadget that's just kind of guessing and one you can actually trust. But it's not just about accuracy, it's also about efficiency. You have to be able to run this on a tiny watch battery. And look at this. Kara Count uses way fewer parameters, meaning it's a much simpler model and it's over 5 times faster than other methods. This is absolutely critical. It means the system is lightweight enough to actually run on your watch without killing the battery. So the lab results were great, but the final, most important test, taking it out of the lab and seeing how it actually performed in the real world with real people. They brought in 20 people to try out a real-time version of the system. On average, they gave it a usability score of 81.6 out of 100. Now, just for context, anything over 80 on this scale is considered excellent. It means people found it super effective and really easy to use. And honestly, the feedback they got just says it all. This one quote really sums it up. "I think I don't need the support of a technical person to be able to use the system." People were successfully making their own counters for squats, jumping jacks, even something as small as finger snapping, all by themselves. That right there is the real win. So this brings us to one last thought. This kind of technology isn't just about the gym. I mean, imagine tracking physical therapy exercises with perfect accuracy, or counting scales while you practice an instrument, or even just seeing how many times you stir a pot while cooking. If your watch could accurately count any repetitive action you wanted, what would you measure?